I'm Diane, and this afternoon we're going to be making matzo balls. There are a lot of different recipes out there nowadays, but when my mom made them, it was just simply 2 ingredients, Matzo Meal and beaten eggs. I'm going to take it a little bit further than that, but it'll still be quite simple. There are 2 schools of thought on matzo balls, floaters and sinkers, and my family comes from the floater side. So we're going to be making very light and fluffy matzo balls. Let's get started. First off, we're going to have a 1/2 cup of matzo meal. And this is just a real ordinary grocery store matzo meal. And to that, we're going to add 2 beaten eggs. You want to beat up those eggs really nicely, and then we're going to combine that with the matzo meal, just like that. I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of oil, one and a half teaspoons of kosher salt, and 1 tablespoon of chopped parsley. This happens to be from my garden. And then we're going to combine this. Sometimes, depending on the size of your eggs, you may need to add 1 additional egg, because we're going to beat this up and then it's going to need to rest for a few minutes. And this one does look like it's going to need 1 more egg, so I'm going to grab that real quick and add that in. That is just a little bit thick yet. Okay, let's see how this goes. Much better. We're going to beat this and get all that parsley distributed nicely and the salt blended in. So our mixture looks about like this. And we're going to put this in the refrigerator for about 10 or 15 minutes, and it's going to get a little thicker. So we're going to stick that in the fridge and then check back on it in just a minute. Okay, so our matzo meal mixture is chilled and ready, and just if you want to speed that up a little bit faster, you can always put it in the freezer for about 5 or 6 minutes instead of the refrigerator. So we're ready to make the matzo balls. My mom's big trick on this was to always have 2 spoons in a glass of ice water, and you dip them in between the making of each ball so that they don't stick together and they have a real nice edge, and she always felt like that was just her secret ingredient. So what I'm going to do is take a bit of this, maybe about the size of a walnut, and I'm going to work it back and forth between the 2 cold, wet spoons to make a nice ball like that. And then I'm going to gently slide it into very vigorously boiling water. Now what you're going to see is that the matzo ball has dropped to the bottom, and then soon it's going to float up. And that's what you're looking for, is for those matzo balls to float up to the top. So we're going to repeat this process with the rest of the batter. We're going to dip it in the ice water, and then take another spoonful of the batter, work it into a nicely shaped ball, and into the hot water. Now if you'll notice, I'm doing this in boiling water as opposed to cooking it in the soup. And the reason for that is the matzo balls have some crumbs that float off while they're cooking, and those can make your soup turn cloudy. And so we want to have really nice clear broth in our chicken soup. So I cook mine in the boiling water, and then once they're cooked, I'll transfer it into the chicken soup so that it can absorb the flavor from that. When we get all the matzo balls into the boiling water, I'm going to let those cook for about 30 to 40 minutes until they're really fluffy and tender. Okay, the matzo balls are cooking now, and we're going to let those go for about 30 minutes. They're really nice and fluffy and floating beautifully. And we'll check back on them in just a few minutes. Well, our matzo balls are all done cooking. They've swelled up beautifully. I'm going to taste one. I think they're really light and fluffy. Oh, that's so good. Enjoy the matzo balls and have a happy Passover.